Hey guys, meteorologist Mike Prianti here. We're back with another weather update, a tropical weather update, a special weather video for you guys. And I'm joined with Mike Mahalik. And Mike, we have a pretty potent tropical system heading for us. I think, wind, rain, and maybe even a couple of tornadoes, I think, with this system.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We have Tropical Storm Isaias coming up the coast. I think I got that right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's not a hurricane. It was a hurricane at one point. Now it's a tropical storm, but a very strong tropical storm of 70 miles an hour for sustained winds. So it's still something we're really going to need to watch here as it moves up the eastern seaboard, and it's going to make a transition to more of an extratropical storm, almost more like a nor'easter type system as it moves up the coast. And you can see it right there on satellite picture there,
Yeah.
right off the coast of South Carolina. Probably going to take a landfall somewhere along the border there of South Carolina and North Carolina. So right in that area, and right there, maximum sustained winds are 70 miles an hour. It's over warm water right now, so it could strengthen to hurricane status right before it makes landfall. But either way, I mean, still a strong storm
hmm
that we're going to contend with.
Yeah, Mike, and I mean, even so, hurricane is 75, so you're talking a difference of 5 miles an hour. So
Hmm.
definitely impacts will be basically the same. It's just a matter of calling it a hurricane instead of a tropical storm.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing about this storm that's interesting is that there's already rainfall well ahead of the actual system. Now, if you look here across the Mason-Dixon line down towards Maryland and even into the DC area, there's already heavy rain breaking out. It's a precursor event to the actual storm. And this is kind of responding to some upper level dynamics that are entering into this whole setup on the eastern seaboard. You can see that the storm is still way down off South Carolina there, and that's a nice, almost an eye that you can see developing there around the center. And that's the main storm. So that's
hmm
the real show. That doesn't get up into the mid Atlantic and into the Northeast until during the day tomorrow. So going to be an interesting one. I think flooding is going to be a big concern, but we can't totally discount those winds, Mike.
No, we can't. And let's take a look at how this is going to track first and foremost here. So
Hmm.
obviously, this is at 12 o'clock, our track that we've made. So it's a little bit farther north from what
Hmm.
we, from the time we're recording this, but still, our projected path getting it right near anywhere from that northeast coastline of South Carolina to
Hmm.
North Carolina coast. Coming up north, notice that it is going to go inland, and so there will be some weakening with this storm. However, I think a lot of things that people are trying to not realize here is that this storm is still going to pack a punch when it gets up into our area. So Tuesday, 8 a.m., it's already up in Virginia,
Hmm.
and then it's starting to really race northward, Mike, all the way
Hmm.
Tuesday, 8 p.m. in the Hudson Valley. But along with it, winds on the eastern side of the storm, heavy, heavy rain on the western side, and
Hmm.
this is going to be a pretty intense system, I think, for a lot of areas.
Yeah. And I think the reason why this storm isn't going to lose a whole lot of punch is because it's meeting up with a jet stream here, a jet streak, and that's going to add a lot of upper level support. So when
hmm
this tropical system tries to make that conversion over to like a normal type nor'easter type system we would see in the winter, um, that's why it's going to kind of maintain itself, and that wind field might expand a little bit, and that's why we're worried that as this thing tracks, from Hampton Roads there in Virginia, through basically right over Philadelphia into northern New Jersey and into the Hudson Valley, there's going to be some strong winds on the eastern side of that track. So
hmm
places like Cape May, Atlantic City, the Jersey Shore points, all the way through Sandy Hook there. You're probably going to have some pretty intense winds, maybe some 50 to 70 mile an hour gusts here, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a joke. And plus, you're going to have some coastal erosion, coastal flooding too with that.
Right.
Um, and don't forget that's going to continue to track up way through into New England. So we're still talking about some pretty strong winds hitting Long Island, also hitting the Connecticut coast and out towards Cape Cod and into Boston.
Yeah.
So that's the wind portion of it. But Mike, on the western flank of this storm, I mean, we're
Oh,
looking at
yeah,
a
we're
good deal of rain.
we're looking at probably a decent soaker here. And,
Mm,
considering we just showed you what the radar looked like right now, and the storm is already in South Carolina, but I mean, it's all the way down south. It
hmm
hasn't even gotten here yet. And we're going to probably be getting a good soaking rainfall tonight. So we're
hmm
talking possibly areas seeing anywhere from, 4 to 6 inches, obviously less as you go east, closer to that track of the center of the storm.
hmm
But man, these areas were hit by a lot of rain on the past weekend, Mike. I know you probably got
No.
what 1 to 2 inches of rain out there in the Lehigh
Yeah, I
Valley.
mean, in some cases, even over 3 inches of rain
Jeez.
has fallen in portions of eastern Pennsylvania with the thunderstorms the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So that's kind of already saturating those soils. And then we also, the main stripe of rain is going to go from basically DC through Baltimore, through Lancaster County, into eastern Pennsylvania, maybe northwest New Jersey. So you're just going to add more rain on top of what already has fallen.
Yes.
And that's what's making it concerning. The winds on the western side won't be as strong, so that's a good thing.
Hmm.
However, when it departs, we are a little concerned there could be a couple hour period of some stronger winds as
Hmm.
this storm departs. So something to keep an eye on. You may think it's getting better as far as the rain's concerned, but then the winds might kick up on that backside even when that rain is leaving.
Yeah, Mike,
So,
and also one last thing here. Obviously, we've touched on the synoptic winds, 50, 70-mile-an-hour gusts here, the heavy rain. But on that eastern flank, the
mhm,
rain is not going to be as great as areas in Pennsylvania. However, there is some what we like to call directional shear. So
mm,
wind is turning with the atmosphere, and you get this a lot with tropical systems. There's always turning in the atmosphere, but that's going to be a concern for tornadoes,
mhm,
especially the Northeast corridor, New Jersey, Hudson Valley, and I think you mentioned all the way out into
mhm,
Connecticut Valley and possibly even Southeast Mass. And
mhm,
they're going to be brief. They're not going to be Midwest, wedges like EF5s, but
right.
definitely, some of these could produce 70, 80-mile-an-hour gusts. And whether it's
Mhm,
from a tornado or strong wind gusts from the system, doesn't matter.
yeah.
It's going to produce damaging winds and
Yeah.
cause damage.
And that's the key point. East side of the storm, we're talking the winds, we're talking the tornado threat. West side of the storm track, we're looking at the flooding rainfall. So if you're on the east side of that storm, don't be surprised that you don't see a whole lot of rain in Long Island up through parts of Connecticut and into Boston. But it's going to be the more of the wind factor in that tornado threat. And
Hmm.
then Tuesday evening, Mike, we finally got this thing kicking on out of here.
Finally.
Luckily, it's moving pretty quickly.
Yes.
If this were moving a lot slower, then we'd be even talking about more of a flooding risk. But it is moving out pretty quickly. So glad to see that. And then by the time we get to Wednesday, I think we're in the clear.
I think we are in the clear, and I think for the most part here, the system is basically going to be out of our area, and it should be fairly dry on Wednesday. So basically, Tuesday evening, obviously, the main threats are going to be up into New England. I think New England during the day tomorrow for Tuesday should be relatively quiet. It does get windy though, but their main impacts are going to be Tuesday night into early
hmm
Wednesday morning. And then, of course, for the rest of the area, we're going to be cleaning up the mess here Wednesday. But Mike, I think that's about it. I think with our weather update. I don't know about you, but I think
Yeah,
we've
no,
got the
I
points
think
across.
we hit all the points, guys. Just stay safe out there. Be
Mhm.
smart. You see that coastal flooding starting to enter on the Jersey Shore or something in Long Island. Just get to a safe spot if it's starting to get into those roadways, and even across where you get those high winds. I mean, there could be some power outages, things like that, some down trees. So just be careful out there. Don't challenge any floodwaters. That's for sure. Just leave those be. Turn around. Go to the next road. Find a different route to your house. That's about all I can say. And in the meantime, right there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and right here on YouTube, you could get more updates on the tropical storm. And as always, WeatherWorksInc.com.